Question. What question is going to give me an answer that is true and honest? Question. What is truth and honesty really? So that's a really amazing question, Joshua. The only thing that's true and honest, but we don't know what it is the things that are constant. So in your experience, Joshua, you've got to find out what is constant. What is constant? What is constant? What always remains in every experience? Everything else comes and goes, so what always remains? So that is the truth, the base of experiencing. Then you can come up to the person and you can explore the psychology of the person, of why the person is seeking for truth and honesty. And what an amazing exploration to do. Because often the person isn't actually seeking for the absolute. The person isn't seeking for the I am and the empty looking, because that doesn't exist in the person's world. The person is interested in things, so it can only conceptualize and make the absolute a duality. So often it's ironically often off on a different path. So, you know, sometimes, for example, someone could have been through narcissistic abuse, which is all smoke and mirrors, which is all deception. So they might have had that for many years in their life, but they don't know that they've been through that experience. So what begins to emerge in them is a seeking, a longing for truth and honesty. And they realize, because of the narcissistic abuse, but it's all unconscious, that they can't find it in humans. They can't find it in their job, they can't find it in relationships, because they've been subject to this narcissistic abuse. So to them, subjective objects are unreliable and unsafe. So then they hear this message of God or a religious message that's just beyond the human, and then they begin to go to that. So that's just an example of something, but it's really fascinating to look to why the person is seeking for something external from subject-object, because the person is only interested in subject-object. And why that's important is because there will be unconscious seeking there, and that unconscious seeking will keep the dense clouds of the illusory you in place. Yeah. So it's ironic, isn't it, that a situation like narcissistic abuse, which has created a lot of pain and which is a very unconscious thing, most people don't know they've been through it until somebody points it out to them, can lead you to the most beautiful subject in the world. The Buddha used to say there has to be the realization that life is suffering. You know, and that having a situation like that is creating so much suffering. But I'm not saying that we should all now go out and find a narcissist and be like, okay, abuse me, come on, give me your best shot. I'm just saying the irony of it, of life. I mean, it's so bittersweet, it's so beautiful and sad simultaneously. It contains everything. It's the same with the book, what is that book? Siddhartha by Hesse, what's his name? My brain, remembering names. Hesse. You know, it's like he has to, you know, go through all this addiction, all these like seemingly juicy, like sex and rock and roll and money and addiction. I know he doesn't go through it because it's like 1,000 years ago, but it's still 2,000 years ago. But it, like, if you've seen them, read the book, like, so he meets the freedom in the beginning. Like, so the freedom is the man, you know, at the edge of the water, like this simple life. Well, that's what it is to me. If you've read the book, it's like the freedom is there when he he goes to take the boat. He could stay with the old man, the wise man, by the water, but he doesn't. He takes the boat over to sexuality, love, lust, gambling, money, addiction, and he goes and like delves into it to the deepest extent, and then is like, okay, there is no freedom there, and then he goes back to the lake and to the wise man. Maybe the wise man was dead by then. I can't remember the ending, but yeah, it's very symbolic. Thank you, Joshua, for the question.